Let's look at Bitcoin real quick, just so people understand the context of where we're going. So after these fibs on here real quick, over this massive range that we had throughout the summertime, the 7-8 month range. So this is what I was saying. So we're looking at like 113, 114. We're probably going to pretty much chop and grind into here. So let me go ahead and get my trusty arrow. So we'll probably do something like this. Boom. Whoops. Oh, it's probably not going to move like that quite. But the point is that we're going to chop and we're going to head into this 2.618 range. Okay. So as you guys see, whenever we pumped really hard out of the range, where did the price action start to draw back from and interact with? Well, you saw, Bitcoin, boom, green meat sticks, smacks its head off this 1.618, obviously interacts with this area quite a bit, which means that these fibs played. So that was like 89,000, 90,000. So we paused for a little bit before we continue to chop higher. So what I'm seeing is going to happen for this leg up is going to be, we're going to basically, because we didn't just shoot right up into the 2.618, we're going to grind higher and get some nice, we'll probably get a couple of nice meat sticks up until this 2.618 range. We'll probably pause for a moment, consolidate for a bit here, and then rip up to the 3.618, which will be about 140K. So Bitcoin probably should be around 140K, which I know is going to sound crazy. I would say we're going to get here, what is that, February? Not a lot quicker than that. I mean, we'll probably get to 140. What is it? December. We're going to rally. I would say by the beginning of Q1, middle of Q1, we should be about 140K. I would say honestly early Q1, like January, we should be at 140K. So that's going to be nice. So we'll get the next leg up on Bitcoin. Beautiful. Then Ethereum, same thing's going to happen. We're going to get, ooh, look at that. Still got all these drawings from my video that I did. If you guys didn't catch that video, you missed out on all the alpha. Let me actually go to this Ethereum drawing. So Ethereum, same thing. We put in a meat stick today. So Ethereum's trying to break out. Once we get above 4K, we should, or 4,100, which is about, yep, right there. So that's where we rejected the first time. Yep. And 4,100 was this high in March of 24 earlier this year. So that's obviously our resistance level where we keep interacting with, like literally at $4,100. So we, boom, banged our head there in March, banged our head there here in December. We're coming back up to try to retest it. So we gotta basically break through this $4,100 level. Once we break through this with conviction, ETH, you're gonna see rip face up to new all-time highs, which is up. I have it labeled at 4,700.
Yep. Yeah. And I think it's important for everyone to remember too, that not all price action is the same for these coins. So like you guys are going to see these coins rip a lot harder in certain ranges just because they're in between fibs. So like, yeah, you guys will see it's going to be a slow grind for Ethereum up to 4,100. At 4,100, it's going to chop. A lot of people are going to think it's over. It's not going to break out of previous range highs. And then boom, once it breaks through it, like Priamo said, once it breaks through that level with conviction, all of a sudden you guys are going to see it teleport up to 4,700 and then probably chop a little bit more. Looks like it's over. Looks like it's facing resistance. It's not going to go any higher. Once it breaks through that level with conviction, again, it's going to teleport up to the next level. So whenever we're showing you guys these fibs, it's important to remember that space in between the fibs is where you guys are going to see these huge moves,
Right.
where Ethereum really isn't facing any kind of resistance. It's just up only for a couple days or a couple weeks. So yeah, it's not always going to move the same. It's going to face some more resistance at certain levels, be a little bit more of a slow grind. But once it breaks through those critical levels, you guys are going to see Ethereum move really rapidly.
Right. Yep. And so if you want to draw the fibs on this from 4,100 down to the low, we're looking at 5,300 would be the next level. And that's what I expect. I expect ETH to rip up to, let's see. Yeah, rip past 5K. We should be 5K Ethereum by the end of this year, realistically. You could also draw the fib from this range over here if you want to go ahead and just consider this a deviation and consider that its own little thing. If you want to consider that a deviation and then just use this range, still 4,800. So regardless, ETH is going to send up to around 5K by the end of this year, okay? Which is going to be huge for us because if you guys are watching the videos, this is the whole reason that we're in Ethereum beta, because this is the time of the year where Ethereum starts to outperform Bitcoin, outperform the other altcoins. So therefore, our meme coins are going to outperform Ethereum. So Ethereum goes up 50%, all of our meme coins are going to go up 100% plus, which is huge. I mean, that's a 2x in the matter of a couple of weeks. So that's where we're at with Ethereum. I'm expecting at least around 5,000 by the end of this year. Going into Q1, we should definitely be above 5,500, 6K, going and actually starting to make moves towards 10,000. So that's where we're at with ETH. We're just waiting for Bitcoin to do its thing. Bitcoin's at 107 now. So yeah, Bitcoin's doing fantastically. Who could have foreseen? And then if you want, we could look at, what do you want to look at? We could either look at Boys Club and give them a couple of fibs on there and let them know which ones we're thinking about buying right now. Just give them a little outside juice or insider juice, but on the live stream. Or I could show them the Nvidia chart, Bitcoin Nvidia chart that I had posted on my Snapchat, showing that whenever Bitcoin starts to outperform Nvidia, Bitcoin rips face, Bitcoin USD.
I'd go over that one first.
All right, yeah, let's do that then. So
while we're talking about Bitcoin,
what we were talking about, or what I was posting on Snapchat and inside the Taylor's code, was a chart where Bitcoin basically is outperforming Nvidia. It gives you an idea of where Bitcoin's about to go. So Nvidia Corporation, yep. Okay, so let's look at this, right? So this chart is Bitcoin denominated by Nvidia. So essentially what this means is, as this chart is going up, Bitcoin is outperforming Nvidia, the company. As this chart is going down, Nvidia is outperforming Bitcoin, meaning that Nvidia would be a better hold over Bitcoin. So here's what we did. Every single time you see Bitcoin put in these massive outperformance areas against Nvidia, that's whenever Bitcoin starts going into price discovery on the Bitcoin USD pair. Okay, so this basically shows you, okay, where's the next breakout on Bitcoin? So if you take a look here and we draw these normie trend lines on this, I mean, you've got, if we put it in, yeah, like this. So you go like that. You can draw it over here too. Right, you draw these normie trend lines from the tops. You can draw like this. You see whenever Bitcoin starts to break out of this trend line from these tops, so you see Bitcoin right here is just starting to break out of this trend line. You see what happens with Bitcoin on the USD pair. It starts to break out. So right now, it's been down only since, when was this? 2021, which of course was when the last bull market for Bitcoin and crypto. So the last time that Bitcoin had this blow off top was in March of 21. So then we've been down only. Bitcoin versus Nvidia has been down only for the last 4 years up until when? Right about now, which is October, November 2024. Oh, isn't that weird? That's exactly whenever Bitcoin started ripping face. Oh, okay. So this chart works, obviously. So what I was posting on the socials was, guys, Bitcoin over Nvidia is starting to break out right now. What does that mean? Oh, shit. Bitcoin's about to start ripping face. So if we line it up and we add, let's add a new pane underneath. We just do BTC underneath, right? Look what happens. So as soon as it starts to break out of this trend line, Bitcoin's ripping face. You come back over here, the last time that Bitcoin started outperforming Nvidia, boom, there it is. There's the all-time highs. Right over here, same thing, Bitcoin pumps. So anytime this chart is pumping up top, this is whenever the Bitcoin USD chart pumps. So when you look at these pairs, this is going to give you an insight as to where the market is going. So if you pay attention to a Bitcoin Nvidia chart and you realize, oh wow, there's a correlation between that chart and the Bitcoin USD chart, I should pay attention to this. Okay, we start to break out. I make posts. Hey, Bitcoin's about to start taking its next leg higher. What does Bitcoin do? It breaks out, goes into price discovery. Now it's about to take its next leg higher. So it's like the information's out there. You just got to be privy to it and understand where you can find basically the alpha in the data so that you can operate in a way where you're going to be front running the move that everybody's going to see too late, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I think that a lot of people, obviously, I mean, it happens every single cycle. People are just obsessed with the idea of calling top on Bitcoin
Right.
for some reason. So you guys, I mean, if you go on X or whatever, you guys are going to see a ton of people trying to say, oh, this is the top. This is the top. I mean, people were trying to call the top on Bitcoin at 100K, saying everyone was going to dump at 100K. It was going to retrace all the way to 35,000. But this cycle just feels so different than any cycle before because the whole sentiment around crypto in general, I think, is just so different than it ever has been. There's never been a cycle before where a presidency even considered talking about crypto or even made it a main focal point like it is now. There's never been entire countries adopting crypto as its main currency. I mean, if you guys follow the news, I mean, there's like El Salvador completely adopted crypto as its main currency. There's tons of countries that are adopting it. You know, way more countries are becoming pro crypto with the way they're setting up their tax structures. You know, you don't have to pay taxes on crypto gains. You know, there's no taxes on crypto gains. You know, any money that you make from crypto completely exempt from taxes, which is insane. Which is maybe causing relocation of myself
and
in the future.
Too.
Yeah. But so whenever you have governments accumulating Bitcoin and looking at it as not, let me buy Bitcoin to then sell it for US dollars, it's now becoming, let me buy as much Bitcoin as I can and hold it, because eventually I'm not going to be able to buy Bitcoin and I'm not going to be able to get more of it. That's the sentiment that I think is starting to shift now. I think that's where Bitcoin is heading and crypto as a whole, is these governments and these massive institutions that are holding a ton of Bitcoin, they're not buying it to sell it for a profit of US dollars. They're buying it to hold it because nothing outperforms it. And eventually they're not going to be able to get it.
Right.
And I think that once that mindset fully is established, that's when the game is over. And that's when Bitcoin goes to $1 million and never comes down.
Correct.
So yeah, I think that anyone calling Bitcoin top at this point is a complete dumbass. And I think that, yeah, for the way that people are viewing crypto and the sentiment around it right now, I think we're not even close to where Bitcoin's going to go, which is beautiful for what we're invested in because ETH is going to get dragged up with it.
Correct. And the thing you're saying about, you know, all the new investors that are coming into the market for Bitcoin, this is the adoption cycle. So this is going to be the adoption cycle for countries, businesses, major players. And so the reason it's so significant what's going to happen this cycle compared to previous ones is that you have to understand that the objective for these massive players is much different than somebody like you or me, Logan, or the people watching. When Trump gets inaugurated, and if he starts to try to accumulate Bitcoin, which it seems very obvious that he will, for the U.S. government as a, let's call it a reserve currency or a way to basically preserve wealth for the country as the U.S. dollar continue to become debased and devalued through inflation, their objective is much different than us, being that they're not going to sell the Bitcoin once they've bought it. So that's an important factor, okay? They're going to buy it to hold it long term, right? That's not what normal people are doing. Normal people who are trying to make this generational wealth and come up big off crypto, etc., they're buying it to then hopefully dump on somebody's head very quickly, very soon afterwards. Therefore, the price fluctuating a lot more. Therefore, people taking profits in that asset devaluing itself. With the Bitcoin adoption that's happening right now, of course, there's going to be pullbacks. Absolutely, 100%. It's not going to go up only forever, never come back down. But the point is that the downside is going to be so much more muted than what it's been in the past, because a lot of these top holders of Bitcoin are not going to be dumping the coin. That's not what they're here for. They're not trying to turn a profit off of the Bitcoin. They're buying the Bitcoin to preserve wealth, to preserve money over a long period of time. So being that they're all buying it and they're not planning on selling it, well, then that means that the supply is going to continue to decrease at an exponential rate without these people dumping on your head. Therefore, every Bitcoin is going to do what? Go up to $1 million. So the appreciation is going to happen a lot more quickly, even though the market cap is higher, just from the pure fact that the buyers are not going to be motivated sellers in a short time frame, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think whenever people are stockpiling Bitcoin and they're buying it with that intention to just hold it forever, because why would you sell a deflationary asset to buy an inflationary one? It doesn't make any sense. And historically, yeah, there's been big pullbacks, but if you average out the Bitcoin returns over the past 10 years, like what other asset could these institutions hold that's going to outperform it? Nothing.
Nothing.
So whenever people are buying it and hoarding it and you know, holding it with that intention, what do you guys think is going to come next? They're going to rotate down. The only other crypto coin that they can really buy with the size that they want to buy in at, which is Ethereum.
Yep.
And the same shit's going to happen to Ethereum. You guys are going to see Bitcoin go to a couple 100,000. It's going to get to the point where like the supply is just so limited, no one's selling it. It's just going pretty much up only with, you know, minor pullbacks relative to how it's pulled back in the past. It's going to rotate down, and Ethereum's going to start to do the same thing. And whenever Ethereum's doing the same thing, the people who are looking to buy and sell for a profit, like we are, they're going to be invested in meme coins and things that are beta to Ethereum. They're going to be trying to play similar gains. They don't have to buy in for millions and billions of dollars like these institutions do. So they can play on chain with things like Pepe, things like Brett, things like Andy and Wolf. And that's what they're going to be looking to make their money off of. And you're going to see them perform extremely well.
Yep. Exactly. All of it is a front run. The reason we're in meme coins now is the front run of the front run, right? We're front running Bitcoin's rotation into Ethereum by front running Ethereum's rotation into meme coins, right? So we're just the furthest down the risk curve, because as that money as that wealth effect continues to occur on chain from Bitcoin and Ethereum holders, all those profits, all that money is going to start rotating down into our baskets. Fortunately, we had bought those assets before that rotation occurs. So you're going to see meme coins are going to be one of the last things that pump really, really, really fucking hard this cycle. Why? Because it's the furthest down the risk curve that people are going to go. So logically, they're going to go from Bitcoin to Ethereum, from Ethereum to other major L1s. So then, the L1s and the utility tokens have pumped really hard. Okay, what can we speculate on next? Okay, maybe AI tokens. Okay, after AI tokens, how much further can we go down? Oh, okay, meme coins. All right, let's go ahead and rotate into meme coins. Now all this money has rotated into our bags, and as they're pumping fucking 5, 10, 15x towards the end of the cycle, guess what we're going to do? We'll go ahead and sell our positions to that into those rotations, into those pumps, exit the market as they're trying to get more multiples on their money. Fantastic. That's how you win. You front run the front run.